Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYAZWANA RIFFIN from MSUC KOTA BHARU. So today I would like to present about my final year project of research methodology. So my title of research is Investigating Impact of Facebook Usage on Students' Academic Performance. Okay, so next is Table of Contents. So here we have Chapter 1 for Introduction, Chapter 2 for Literature Review, Chapter 3 for Research Methodology, and also the list of references. Okay, so Chapter 1, Introduction. In the age of information and technology, not only the technologies are influencing our daily life, but also they are becoming the part of our life. In other words, it has brought the human being beyond the magic of ancient fairy tale stories and has entered into a new era of the online social network sites such as Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, Twitter, and also YouTube. This revolution has brought the new innovation in the field of online social media, which has changed the traditional way of messaging into modern way news posting or message posting. So it's basically online social network has now spread around the globe, and Facebook is the largest social network becomes so popular for young people that they hardly use email or other way of communication, especially for university students. So this was stated by Kirk Patrick on 2010. Okay. The next is people use Facebook to stay connected with friends and also family, to be informed and entertained within their social circle, and to share and express what matters to them. Launched in February 4, 2004, Facebook, an innovation of 19-year-old old Harvard University student for connecting university campus students. So this is stated by Grossman 2010. The trend of traditional studies regarding students' lives focus on academic and between student and faculty relationship by Granovetter 1973. Moreover, discussion and estimates concerning the effect of information technology on campus have mostly linked with academic learning and academic performance. Okay, so but due to the popularity of Facebook in university campus, the link with academic learning by the information technology may be affected. Some recent research work are demonstrating the impact of Facebook on students' academic performance. Moving on for background of the study, Facebook, which is at the vanguard of the social media boom, has over 500 million monthly active users. It began on February 4, 2004, when Mark Zuckerberg established their revolutionary site to link Harvard University students. This site allows users to create social networks with hundreds or even thousands of people all over the world. So in a broad survey of college students from colleges in developing countries, Willie and Susan discovered that 91% of students use Facebook. Ethiopia, as one of the developing countries, has roughly 1 million Facebook users, with half of them being higher education students, despite the fact that this social network earned billions of dollars for its creator and allow users to contact relatives who have been separated for a long time in a fraction of a second. Okay, so next is problem statement. Because of their widespread use by school and university students, social network sites saw a rapid growth in popularity in the second half of the last decade. According to Ellison, Stanfield, and Lim, by the end of 2009, a large percentage of internet-using teenagers had joined social networking sites, with nearly half of them viewing them regularly. The popularity of the Facebook platform has expanded so quickly that it has piqued the interest of university students, who have become so absorbed in the site that they have almost totally forgotten about their studies. Okay, so when looking for study material online, students are readily learned to use numerous social media platforms. In most situations, students waste practically all of their time on social media and forget about the course material they were looking for in the first place. According to Ellison et al., students are more likely to engage in such internet activities while doing their homework, which may have a negative impact on their academic achievement by diverting their attention away from the learning process. Okay, so next is research objective and also research questions. For research objective, um, first is to determine the unique motivations that motivate students, especially to utilize Facebook. Second, determine the average amount of time students spend on this site every day. And third is to determine the level of people's Facebook addiction. For research questions, the first one is, does using Facebook affect a student's academic performance? Second, what are the specific reasons why students utilize Facebook? Third, how much time do students spend on the site on a daily basis on average? Fourth, to what extent are students addicted to the use of Facebook? Okay, next is significance of research. As a newly emerging and rapidly advancing technology, the findings are expected to add the wealth of information currently available on Facebook usage and its impact on college students' academic performance. More preciously, it will serve as a showcase for any instituted body in charge of students' academic achievement at the college level in general and university students in particular. Some students believe that using social networking sites during class time help them deal with the college boredom. This research will look into the impact of Facebook on college students and how they might use it in conjunction with students with their studies. Sorry, the studies findings are expected to help a little to closing the existing literature gap on understanding the barriers and benefit of Facebook in academic setting. Okay, so moving on for chapter 2 about literature review. Uh, the first one is area of research. User can build a public or private profile, communicate with individuals via in their networks on social networking sites, which are the newest online communication tool. Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, and other social networking sites are good example of social network that allow users to show themselves to other users in a number of formats such as text, video, and also chat. Social networks are usually online communities built and maintained to resemble offline interactions rather than virtual lessons from Facebook communities born online. And so, millions of people have signed up for websites like MySpace and the more popular Facebook, with Facebook becoming the most popular social network around students nowadays. Next is theoretical foundation. Flow theory is a psychological concept that helps assess human-computer interaction and addresses people's desire to use the internet for their students. If the answer is more FaceTime, then Facebook may be the best way to gain access to the students rather than setting the expectation of attending actual office hour. So flow as defined by Csikszentmihalyi, Finding Flow, The Psychology of Engagement with Everyday Life on 1998 is the holistic sensation that people experience when they actually completely involved. It denotes complete immersion in a task such that the person is completely captivated by the artifact and the task at hand. Websites, email tools, and the computer itself are all examples of artifacts. Thus, refer to assignment complete with these tools. So this was stated by Firi Naren on 2003. Okay. So next, this is the conceptual model of this research. So for the independent variable, um, we have profile of the students, gender, and also age. For dependent variable, academic performance of students based on participation, class, and also observation. So the outcome is handed the questionnaire to students for gather information on Facebook usage. Okay, so next is relation between variables. For profile students in the educational community, the term student profile is used in a variety of contexts. A student profile provides information about a student in all cases, but the information can be presented and used in a variety of ways. Student profile can include information submitted by students as well as information added by educational institution staff members to provide a complete picture of the student. Okay, so meanwhile for academic performance of the students, according to Vigil on 2011, academic success is significant because it is strongly related to the positive outcome that we value. Adults who are academically successful and have a high level of education are more likely to be employed, to have stable employment, to have more employment opportunities, to earn higher salaries, to have health insurance, to be less dependent on social assistance, to be less likely to engage in criminal activity. The academic success is critical because working people will require higher levels of education to enter technologically demanding occupations in the future. Okay, next is hypothesis. So, for the hypothesis one, the development of interpersonal relationship among college students is influenced by social networking sites such as Facebook. Hypothesis 2, social networking sites such as Facebook have no effect on the development of interpersonal relationship among college students. And hypothesis 3, the impact of Facebook use on interpersonal development varies between males and female. Hypothesis 4, there is no difference between males and females in the impact of Facebook use on interpersonal development. Okay, so for the last chapter is chapter 3, research methodology. Okay, so for the research approach, a quantitative explanatory research methodology was used in this study to determine the relationship between the researcher use and explanatory design. Facebook usage and GPA among high school students are variable to consider. The researcher also established a link between the variable of Facebook usage on each of the 10 variables. Communication abilities, general determination, goal attainment, social activity, and socialization connection, stability, and study abilities. The researcher did not want to draw any conclusions about causation. Okay. Among these variables, instead, the researcher wanted to see if any relationship existed and the extent to which those relationships. As a result, explanatory research was the best fit for this study because the goal of correlational studies is to understand the patterns of relationship among variables. So this was stated by Smith on 1987. So moving on for research design, as previously stated, the primary goal of the study is to assess the impact of Facebook usage on students' academic performance. As a result, a mixed approach was chosen to achieve the intended objective, as the research questions are both qualitative and quantitative in nature. Furthermore, it is believed that mixed methods provide better information to understand a specific phenomenon under investigation than a single method because the failure of one method can be compensated for by the success of the other. Because the current study aims to answer quantitative and qualitative research questions, Data collection and analysis technique from both methodology were used. Next is data type and collection method. So based on the study methodology, I choose data collection method. As a result, I will determine what criteria will be used to select participants or resources, as well as how you will recruit or gain access to them. As previously stated, my research strategy is divided into two categories, primary and secondary. I will categorize primary research methods into three types, which is observation, survey, and interview. This research will be conducted on a large number of students or respondents, primarily college and university students. For this scenario, I will use simple random sampling, which is the most basic probability sampling method because it requires only one random option and little prior knowledge. I will conduct this poll both online and in person, randomly selecting respondents to answer the question we have prepared. I also choose a few students from MSU college to participate in this research. Okay. Next is questionnaire development. A questionnaire is a type of research instrument that consists of a series of questions designed to elicit information from respondents. In that they collect information, questionnaires are similar to written interview. They can take place either online or offline. Data can be obtained quickly because the researcher is not required to be present while the survey are completed. However, one problem with questionnaire is that respondents may lie in order to maintain their social standing. Most people want to present a positive image of themselves, so they may lie or stretch the truth to make themselves appear better, such as when students inflate their revision time. So the responses to the questionnaire will primarily based on the Likert scale and yes or no questions. The Likert scale is frequently used in questionnaire to determine the degree of approval or rejection of a statement. So the Likert scale used in the questionnaire is described as below. So 5 for totally agree, 3 for neutral, 2 for disagree, 1 is totally disagree. Okay, so moving on for sampling strategy. There are two types of sampling technique available, probability sampling and also non-probability sampling. The non-probability sampling method was used in the study. According to Umar Sekaran 2016, non-probability sampling occurs when elements of the population are unlikely to be chosen as sample subject. This sample was drawn from Malaysian college and university students. So as a result, convenience sampling was employed in this study. It referred to data collection from members of the general public who are readily available to do so. This was stated by Umar Sekaran 2016. So the person who took part in the survey provided information is referred to as the respondent. Ability research and writing or oral communication skills are required for interviewing work. The number of students that I need to pull reach about 300 or 350 respondents. The goal is to determine the true proportion. These respondents are interviewed in person and asked online questions. So structured interviews are a type of data collection technique that is commonly used in statistical survey. An interviewer collect the data in this case rather than a self-administrated questionnaire, despite the fact that 300 to 350 is a large number. So I will work hard to get 300 to 350 people to answer the question that I've been prepared. Okay, so next is data analysis. To evaluate the data, the the statistical package for social science SPSS is used, which aids in data cleansing and testing for logical flow. Descriptive analysis entails developing quantitative data in a systematic manner and measuring, classifying, computing, gathering, describing, analyzing, and interpreting. According to IBM SPSS Static 25, many types of data can be summarized by using central tendency to measurement, median, and mode. Okay, so last but not least is ethical consideration. Social networking sites, the use of social media is now an integral part of everyone's life. It enables users to obtain and share information from all over the world in a very short period of time. Unfortunately, the consequences of social media abuse in spreading information have an impact on the number of users who enter the legal domain as a result of unethical information spread on social media. In order to reduce the problem of using social media, ethical behavior is required to avoid mutually insulting or accusing others for no apparent reason. In fact, this issue will land users in hot water for being careless in disseminating information on the internet. Okay, so lastly is list of references. So this is the list of references that I've been using for my research. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you.